Sitting in the esteemed company of three gentlemen, two songwriters and a fine singer. I got Brendan Graham, I've got Denis Carey and Sean Keane. Brendan, first of all, when it comes to songs, every songwriter wants to hit that one song in their life that, you know, would look after them, for want of a better term, and you have done that with You Raise Me Up.
The pension song.
The pension song, indeed. When that took off for you, was it a big surprise to you, or did you know you had a hit song with you when that came to be?
The way it works is, Roddie, every song we write, we think is the hit song. So after a while, you begin to realise that isn't the way the world works, and you've no control over songs once you write them. They kind of find their own life. All I can say about You Raise Me Up is that the day that I wrote the chorus, I would always start with the chorus of a song and then work to the verse, and you have somewhere to go to. And I called over Rolf Loveland, who was in Dublin. Rolf had written the music, and they had asked me to come up with a lyric for this instrumental they had, which was called Silent Story. And it was about midnight, and they came over. I lived in Dublin at the time, and they came over, and I had a little office out in the garden, and the demo was on fiddle, and it was miles too high for me, and I can't sing anyway. But even so, he and Fionnuala Sherry, who's the violinist with Secret Garden, they just looked at each other, and I thought, maybe this is the one, but no idea of where it would go to, just no idea at all.
How does the lyric for a song like You Raise Me Up come to you? Is it something that you have to work on, or is it something that just clicks in your head?
Well, a deadline is a great thing, you know, and I had a deadline on that because they were going into studio the following week in Dublin with a large orchestra and all sorts of luminous artists and so on. So I heard the melody in the afternoon. I did think it had strains of Danny Boy in it, but then so do a lot of songs. It didn't particularly throw me off. I said it to them. So I went back to my own place, and I would probably listen to a melody if somebody sends me a melody, like from Denis on this song we're going to talk about later, The Coast of Labrador. I would have it on constant. I'd listen to it probably a couple of hundred times. And what I find happens is something seeps out of the melody, and particularly if it's a melody I was attracted to. And feel something seeps out for it, and then the rhythm and the notes and the way the whole song is constructed is actually embedded in your body, so phrases start coming up. So You Raise Me Up just came up like that, and then you have to think, well, what is You Raise Me Up going to be about? Like, you know, it's going to be self-rising flower, or what the hell is it going to be about? Like, you know it's right, like You Lift Me Up wouldn't have worked the same. So you kind of know, and then it fitted the musical rise, which goes da 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 da. So the words actually fitted that, and I knew I was onto something. And then I began thinking about it. You Raise Me Up, and I do my usual brainstorming, which is to draw a circle in the middle of a page, put in the title, and then write down everything I can think about. You Raise Me Up, You Let Me Down, the song. And I never, at that stage, make any decisions about what I'm going to use and what I'm not going to use. It's stream of consciousness. And then I'll go back and I'll say that idea is good. And I usually then write out 3 or 4 lines, this song is about, in ordinary language. And I last year found my working papers on You Raise Me Up. They're in a safe now. And I could see the development of the song. And it wasn't until the very end, on page 6, that I got the last line, which really, I suppose, is the line a lot of people relate to. You raise me up to more than I can be. I had a different last line, but somehow at the end of the process I got that. So it's an exercise in reduction. I'd have pages and pages of stuff, and then you go through and say what will work and what will work with the music, and somehow out of chaos something comes about.
On the coast of Labrador, our codfish galore. We catch them and we salt them by the score. Since first I left Ramore, evermore, to plough the salty coast of Labrador.
And so then to the Coast of Labrador, was the same process for that song again? Do you use the same process all the time when you're writing songs?
I do, yeah. Except if I'm writing myself, I'll go to the piano, like, with the Annie Moore song, Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears. I'd go to the piano. I had the title from something I saw on Ellis Island, so then I would try and get that. But when I get melodies from other people, it's the same thing. I'd listen to it over and over again. And then something, I knew from Denis's melody there was a tug in it, there was a nostalgia, there was a longing, and there was the beauty. And to me, they're the best kind of songs because you have a sort of a conflict within the song of happy, sad. And I think people relate to that because that's our lives. We are a mixture of happiness and sadness. And
the co-writer is with us as well, Denis.
On our first meeting, I got a very nice card in the post, and I'm not sure how Brendan tracked me down, but he heard one of my tunes on one of my band albums, and he said he just really liked this tune. That was it, and maybe we'll meet for a cup of coffee sometime. Yeah. And I said no. And of course we had a chat, and Brendan wrote lyrics to that piece as well, and we have about 3 songs done at this stage and working on some more. And but this is the most recent.
Right. And how long did that process take to get the song to the finished edition?
This particular one?
Yeah,
it's been going on for probably the last 5 or 6 months. The tune was there, but then we obviously tweak it a little bit when we get together, and lyrics, but things get a little bit changed here and there, maybe to suit, and you come back to it, as Brendan said, to do it, writing lyrics.
And it's a very emotive subject as well for a lot of people. Even now, after all these years, we're talking about people, leaving this country because of the famine and moving out of Ireland and all that. When you're writing that, how do you both prepare, to get that emotion, try to get that emotion into the song?
When I write tunes, even though there are no lyrics to them, but I've written a lot of tunes, and I just like to write airs, and they just turn out that way. And maybe it's immigration in my family. Grandfathers, both sides of my family went to America. All my granduncles on both sides, my brother and father, and both my grandfather on each side came back, but left all their brothers in America. And I've been to where my grandfather had a pub in New York, in Brooklyn, 1900. We have a photo from there. So I've a lot, and I've actually played one of my pieces under the Brooklyn Bridge at one point for all his descendants, my cousins, So I'm just drawn to that immigration theme, I suppose.
And when the ice is thick, with me slitter and my stick, I'll show him how we play those games of yore. By the Barrow and the North, on Jesus' shore, now we hurl the frozen coast of Labrador.
And the man singing the song then is well-known Sean Keane. Do I call you Keane or Kane?
Whichever you like, indeed.
Sean.
It would be spelled Keane, but pronounced locally Kane.
Kane, yeah.
Yeah, but we flatten everything in Galway.
Your delivery of the song was quite remarkable when you sang it live, and I would have to admit that when hearing you live is a much more pleasing, if that's the right word to use, effect on a person listening to you when you're singing live as opposed to recorded. And I think from my own point of view, listening to you, I probably heard you and saw you in a different light singing live as I would do when I hear you recorded. Singing this song, The Coast of Labrador, what drew you to it firstly, and singing it? Is there a certain emotion that you gain from the song when you're singing it?
Well, when I first heard the song, Brendan invited me to do it because going back years, I think around 20 years ago, maybe something like that, Brendan, that I first began to sing when you wrote Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, the story of Annie Moore, the first one to go through Ellis Island. I did that song, and that song has been very, very good to me. It's probably the song that it gets most airplay, most requested. I do it all my gigs. It's one of those songs that it's just, I'm going to be singing it forever. This song, when I first heard it, I thought it's a beautiful song, an amazing song, because I've been to Newfoundland. It's the one place that I went for a weekend for a festival, and I stayed about 6 weeks. And it was the one place that I've ever toured that I thought I could live here, until I saw the fog coming in over the Grand Banks, and I thought, no, time for Sean to go home. I think the winters there are a bit, they're not made for bones like mine. But I think it's an amazing song that shows in 2 verses and a chorus the connection between Waterford and Newfoundland, down to the sporting, the fishing, where it began, and that whole story. As you say, you get all your ideas, and the process of reduction, bringing it down to 2 verses to tell the story, I think is a great achievement for any writer to be able to do. I think it's a great, powerful song. And again, today is our first performance here. I agree with you when you say about me being live and recording. I've always been singing around in the house for people, always in public, with people. There's an energy when there's people around that I don't get in a studio. And I have problems trying to get that out in a studio. And it's not really a place that I feel comfortable singing. And I think that comes out in the recordings as well, comparing to the way I feel when I'm doing it live.
And there are certain songs that need an audience for you to feed off, isn't there?
Well, there is. I think you need to feed off, because the energy between the audience and the performer is a very definite, powerful thing. And I think to be there in that space with other people, it's a different energy than being in a soundproof studio with a pair of headphones singing to a red microphone or something. Slightly different. Maybe other professional singers and everything would be able to do better in the studio than I can. But I've always struggled with that.
And Brendan, you mentioned earlier that there was only one person that you felt could sing the song and do it the justice that it needed, and that was Sean.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. As soon as it was done, we sent for him. Get down here. And we actually did the first rough demo in the sitting room of my house in Mayo, where the piano was out of tune, and Pat Kine, who played guitar today, brought his mobile studio and stuck mics and wires in through the windows, and we got it down the first day there. And just, even though it was new and the piano was a bit out of tune and all that, there was something about the whole atmosphere that Sean created in the song and bringing the story to life. And I think we both knew, we have something here that's special.
Well, it's a wonderful piece of music, and congratulations to all 3 of you on getting it from the heads to paper to recorders, and thank you very much indeed for your time.
Very welcome. Thanks, Roddie.
She keeps me well and warm through ice and sea and storm. And our babby safe from harm on the coast of Labrador.